we doing? Good morning, Mad Hatter Nation. It's Monday, January 5th, 2026. Welcome to the Hat and Beard Show. Obviously, we're coming to you live, right? As always, Monday through Friday. Not how we necessarily want to be enjoying the first official week of the NFL playoffs. Obviously, our beloved Detroit Lions are not in the dance this year, and we've been saying Super Bowl or bust all year. Well, that means that it was a bust, and I think we knew that was going to happen eventually. But even though it sucked this year, we did finish above 500. And when you compare that to years past, regimes past, decades past, we are infinitely farther ahead than we ever have been in Lions tenure, right? This is something that Patriots fans can talk to. Chiefs fans, Ravens fans, Steelers fans can talk to. You're not always going to be perfect, right? But being above 500, that's pretty dang good. That's pretty dang good. Now, we did want to have a big Super Bowl run after the 1 seed in the playoffs last year, and this is something that I don't want any of you to forget. Everyone is going to be piling on the Lions, the 1 seed last year, not making the playoffs this year. They're going to be talking a lot of smack, and it's already started. Just point out to them, how come Mahomes, how come Lamar, how come they don't get this same treatment? Why is Jared Goff not given any grace when he is statistically one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL? Year in and year out, he's just not glorious and glamorous about it. He's just Jared Goff going to work every single day. And it feels good to bookend the year sweeping the Bears. All we heard all offseason was Ben Johnson. Oh, the media just could not fit enough Ben Johnson in their mouth. They loved themselves some Giggle Williams, thinking he was the second coming of Patrick Mahomes, which apparently was the second coming of Christ. They've never seen anyone throw a ball like that before, but Giggle Williams was held in check. Ben and his big old brain, the brilliance of Ben Johnson, it was proven that you ain't there yet, bud. You ain't there yet. You had a good year, but when it came down to it, we got you twice. We swept you this year, right? No matter how good of a year you had, you still couldn't beat the guys who made you who you are. And, there is something to be said that Ben Johnson could be a little bit of a fraud. Right. When you look at how the Detroit Lions offense still statistically matched up as far as the aerial assault is concerned, the run game not as effective as it was last year, but that could be pinpointed at one thing. Our offensive line lost a Hall of Famer and a All-Pro at 2 different positions, right? We had to rebuild, recalibrate, reload, re-engage before we could go out on the attack, and we weren't quite where we were. But Dan Campbell still calling plays. The offense still was just as effective through JG16. Amon-Ra got his. J-Mo continued to evolve. We were without our all-pro tight end for the majority of the year. Yet, without Ben Johnson, the offense still was relatively humming along. So, how much of the Ben Johnson effect was Ben Johnson? Yes, he is a good coach and a good coordinator, but there is the real argument with Chicago of your GM bought you a really shiny, expensive defense. Your offense isn't really all that good. Yeah, the media tries to make Caleb Williams seem like he is all of that plus a bag of potato chips, but unfortunately he's not, and we've seen that on display. Caleb Williams is wildly inaccurate. I don't understand why Caleb Williams gets all this praise while J.J. McCarthy gets all this hate when they both are equally as shit, right? They both suck. So why is one allowed grace and one is already out after 11 games? They are both equally as shitbox passers, in my opinion, at playing the quarterback position. Frankly, neither one of them are better than Anthony Richardson, in my opinion. Anthony Richardson is probably a better, at this point, better quarterback than both of those guys. Caleb Williams, wildly inaccurate, and to kind of just wrap up talking about the Lions-Bears game here with our monologue, how embarrassing. How embarrassing that in 2025, now turned 2026, Chicago has never had a quarterback pass for more than 4,000 yards. Now, we're told how good Caleb Williams is. Oh, Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, blah, 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 blah. Still can't throw for 4,000 yards. And Jared Goff routinely throws for 4,000 plus yards. So I don't understand it. I just refuse to believe that Caleb Williams is actually good, because he's not, and the numbers support that. He doesn't pass the eye check. And then on top of that, how unbelievably embarrassing for you. If you follow along on Reddit or Twitter, this year has been very sobering for more and more non-Detroit Lions fans, and I think in any years past, because we've had a substantially, well, all of our road games were played at the 4:30 time slot, so we had more prime viewership on Sundays, and then we played, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and a handful of primetime games, so we got more exposure to the national media than in decades past. Obviously, when you win more, you're going to get televised more, and that's what we have been successful with. And with that comes more people realizing, wow, how are you Detroit Lions fans? How do you do this? How do you, honest to God, go out there and watch as blatant corruption is allowed to run rampant, right? Look, there is a little trend you can notice. When the Lions get penalized and it is at all questionable, they don't show it. They don't talk about it. They just move along with the game. They show Ben Johnson chewing on his dick. They show Caleb Williams fingering his asshole. They just, fiddle fuck ass around. However, when there is any possibility, and if you guys can think back to a very specific pass play where Caleb Williams overthrew Luther Burden by 27 yards. That's not grounding. And Dean Blandino is corrupt now as well. He's bought and paid for. I guess Hyman Roth called him too. And says, Dean Blandino immediately goes, well, Luther Burden was in the vicinity, so that's a good call. In what fucking world is any human being going to cover 30 yards of field in 1.5 seconds? Explain to me how the Luther Burden pass was not grounding when there was a country mile, a whole ass county, an area code. Hell, he might as well have just thrown the fucking ball into Lake Michigan, right? That's the distance between Luther Burden and the ball versus Amon-Ra St. Brown running an out route or running an in route when Jared Goff wanted him to throw an out route on a completely timing-based pass, right? There was 7 yards difference between Goff and St. Brown, and that is a clear miscommunication, but that is somehow grounding. I understand that by the basic definition of the rule, that is grounding, but how are you going to enforce that but say, yes, well, Hat, you're dumb. You don't understand. We cannot say that Luther Burden would not have been able to cover 30 grounds in 1.2 seconds. Just because you are pretty sure that that's not possible. So that possibility exists. Well, if that possibility exists, Amon-Ra could have done a 360-degree spin in the air, put an S on his chest, flown back to the ball through the air and caught the pass, therefore not grounding. But this is a world that we live in where neutral zone infractions somehow happen during a commercial break. A penalty is thrown, 5 yards are given to the offense, and nobody discusses it. Nobody. Not a single fucking person. The Detroit Lions are the only team in the NFL where the in-catchable pass rule does not apply to pass interference. Nope. That can't happen, right? Nope. When you're Detroit, grounding is different, holding is different, neutral zone infractions are different. When you're playing against Detroit, you are allowed to regularly jump off sides, line up in the neutral zone, commit egregious holding penalties on Aiden. Aiden Hutchinson was fucking tackled on that 2-point conversion to Cole Kmet by Cole Kmet, who laid on him, and in the middle of the screen, Aiden Hutchinson, who I'm sorry, y'all, but when you're playing a team that wears dark blue uniforms, a dude who is like fucking Swedish or whatever flag he's got on the back of his helmet alongside the American flag, he's gonna stick out with his pasty white arms. He's 6'7". Those arms are not short and stubby. When he's literally waving to the camera, pointing at himself being held, and they just go, oh, Caleb Williams is so good. Oh, Caleb Williams, so good. Such good Caleb Williams. He paints his fingernails. He's so good. He's so good. Aiden Hutchinson, shut up. Shut up. The rules don't apply to you the way that they apply to everybody else. So it's fucking irritating, but it is sobering to know that more and more national eyes are going, yeah, that ain't right. You guys are getting dog fucked, F-U-C-T fucked. I'm not swearing, YouTube. It's F-U-C-T. That's not a curse word. Okay? Don't throttle me, right? More people, the national eye is going, yep. You're getting screwed right there. So that is a good thing. All that to be said, the blatant corruption, right? The media machine being behind you. Lions have never won when Tom Brady calls our games, right? All the injuries, Sewell out, which Hubbard played pretty well in a pinch. Let's be honest. He for his first crack at her, I think he held up okay. I'm not saying he's the future, but I'm saying he held up okay, right? No Penne, stifled run game, right? Banged up interior offensive line, Mahogany playing like dog ass, you know? All the injuries to the secondary, and you still couldn't throw for 4,000 yards on the season. You needed 270. That's pretty attainable in today's NFL, especially when the stripes and the rules are favoring the offense and any team that is playing the Detroit Lions. Okay, you have a huge leg up, a massive leg up, right? Detroit versus everybody until proven elsewise. Meme is reality. Detroit versus everybody. And you still couldn't beat the Lions. You still couldn't do it. How embarrassing. like, oh, dude. You cheated and you still couldn't win. That's fucking embarrassing. How embarrassing. So, like, not only is that embarrassing, but like, could you guys even imagine being a Bears fan today? Like those greasy bastards spent all week just running their cock holsters. You know what I'm saying? Just bumping their fucking gums. And the bitch of it is you could hardly understand 90% of what they were saying because they were getting blow banged by Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. They had both of their dicks shoved so far down their throat, you could barely understand what these assholes were saying. And all week long, just whap, 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 right here. All week long, dude, just rubber chickens, bro. Just a bunch of chicken heads, dude. You know what I'm saying? And you had everything. Vegas, the refs, the league, the media, everybody. And we weren't, brother, we tried to give it to you. We went out there and played typical Dan Campbell ball. Going for it, couple of big mistakes, couple of big whiffs. It wasn't our best game. It was far from perfect Detroit Lions football, but what it was quintessential gritty Detroit Lions football, doing enough on defense. Amon-Ra showing up with his big boy pants on. And did you notice the dialogue around Amon-Ra St. Brown? Did you notice Twicey, not the one say Twicey. Oh, Twicey. Amon-Ra said it Twicey. He said, this is a child's game. We get paid to play a child's game. Does anybody else think that Amon-Ra's dad called him and said, what the fuck are you doing? You are playing a fucking game. Figure it out. What the fuck is wrong with your ass? Because there has been a significant mentality shift in Amon-Ra St. Brown over the past 2 weeks. And I think mom and dad might have called him and said, hey, boy, get your alien-sized head out of your ass. You look like Roger from American Dad right now. Figure it out, bro. And he said it twice. He said it with Tom Brady, and he said it in the interview with Jared Goff. We get paid to play a child's game. I think someone had a little come-to-Jesus meeting with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I'm glad for it because that means, Mr. Productivity ends the season on a high note and gives us a good feeling moving into the offseason. I know that this season sucked, but do we not feel better moving forward? Do we not feel better moving forward, everybody? What's up, Gun Guy 5465? How you doing? Goff made Ben Johnson. I like that, dude. What's up, Trippy? Goff isn't mobile, though. Exactly, dude. And that's why they don't like Goff. That's why they don't like Goff, dude, because he's out there trying to be, his best impression of Drew Bledsoe running around in the backfield. He's not mobile. He's not flashy. He doesn't have headlines. He doesn't come out and say bulletin board material. He's not all rah-rah. Jared Goff, for being a first overall pick who has made generational wealth multiple times over now, invested it smartly and soundly, one of the more humble guys in the NFL, let's be honest, especially for a quarterback in the NFL who has top 5 numbers year in and year out and is a foundationary piece of the biggest rebuild in sports franchises not just the NFL, in all sports franchise history. Detroit's turnaround is probably the biggest turnaround in all of sports. And it has been not single-handedly, but one of the section leaders was JG16, a foundationary piece brought in by Brad Holmes. Think of him what you will. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell said, that's the guy. That's the guy who's got the mentality, the identity of Detroit. That's the guy who we're going to make this team about. We're going to go and we're going to draft a future Hall of Famer to protect him with our first overall pick, and our mentality is set, and this is what we're going to do. And it's been absolutely wonderful ever since then. Unfortunately, Goff, I give it up to this guy. This dude plays well. This guy plays great. It wasn't me. It was because of this. It wasn't me. It was because of that. However, on the inverse, anytime anything goes wrong, Jared Goff's the first to go. It was me. I need to play better. I need to execute better. I need to do more. It was my fault. I let everybody down. He's the ultimate team player. He's the ultimate leader on a team for a team sport. He's humble, right? And that's why the media doesn't like him. He's no headlines. You might as well just call him no headline Jared Goff. No headline statistical leader in passing stats across the board, Jared Goff, right? Does it with a 4th round pick that everyone says this guy sucks. Does it with a dude who everyone, including myself, was saying is probably busting out of the league after a couple of years of up and down, mostly down, and now has been able to turn it around, right? Jared Goff, dude, doesn't get the respect that he's due just because he's not Mr. Flash in the pan, dude. He's Mr. Reliable. You know what I mean? He's old steady Eddie himself. JG is the definition of humble. Ain't that right, Rick? Ain't that right? So, guys, there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, that was a 20-minute monologue. Got a little out in the weeds there. But we do have headlines to cover today. We will be talking about Aaron Glenn because after all of the Ben Johnson talk and Lions, look, let's take a little look over and see how the other guy is doing now. There's a lot of talk Aaron Glenn was going to be terminated after this year. I am not so wild about coaches getting fired after 1 year. You got to be real bad, Pete Carroll. You got to be real not have any type of plan moving forward. And at least Aaron Glenn, at the trade deadline, I think that was the Jets waving the white flag. They just accumulated a boatload of picks. Aaron Glenn now is set to be able to pay free agents, be able to bring in draft prospects. And Membu was a great pick this year. Wasn't flashy, wasn't sexy, but he played good. They were limited. When your starting quarterback, when your franchise is going, we are moving forward with Justin Fields. 6 wins is your ceiling. Okay? Let's be real. And how unfortunate for a guy like Sauce Gardner. Sauce Gardner thought he was climbing into an escape pod and jettisoning out of the Big Apple, heading to a playoff contention AFC South leading Indianapolis Colts at the time. Oh, damn, brah. That sucks for Sauce Gardner. But, we'll be talking about the Jets and Aaron Glenn. And the Jets did make a final call on Aaron Glenn's job status. So, guys, with spoiler alert, he ain't going nowhere, and good on him. We then will take a look at Ben Johnson, and he rips the Bears' offense after a loss to the Lions. A little bit longer article here. We're going to try and get through the whole thing, as you guys can see. We'll see how well my 6th grade reading level holds up with all of these big words and fancy lettering. And then, of course, we'll be talking Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes. You've seen him on the thumbnail. And this is going to be the offseason. Look, very blanket statement right here. Brad Holmes has a lot of work to do this offseason, right? Brad Holmes must address these major issues. Holmes has a busy offseason ahead of him. Vito Chichero over at Lions on SI. He's got a pretty good rundown here for us, and it's all stuff that we have talked about, Mad Hatter Nation. So make sure that you guys are engaging in the chat. Let me know if we talk about something that is particularly interesting to you, or if you have an interesting take on something we should do, right? I think we all know offensive coordinator needs to be addressed, and then player personnel, and as well as strength and conditioning needs to be highly addressed. And then over here, A to Z Sports. I like these guys a lot. I like A to Z, man. And you guys know now that we're in the offseason, they're going to be kind of our go-to because these guys have some good filler arc material, for lack of a better term. But a list of the Lions' 34 free agents and the 10 guys who are likely staying in Detroit. I think we all know some of the names who are going to be on the outs, okay? Some of them didn't play yesterday, okay? Because some of them are too old. Again, it's unfortunate. Alex Anzalone, right? Foundationary piece of the Detroit Lions, brought in. Effectively, I look at Alex Anzalone, he was brought in to do what Jared Goff did on offense, but on defense. You know what I mean? Stable, steady Eddie, Mr. Reliable. The veteran who still has quite a bit left in the tank. Veteran as in you're in the middle of your career. Now we're getting to the back end. Now you're starting to miss a step. You're starting to be a little bit slower. We have to start allocating funds and building towards the future. I do not think that a re-signing of Alex Anzalone, if he wants anything in the realm of what Derek Barnes got, that is completely out of the question. Now, if he wants to take an incredibly team-friendly deal and say, hey, if you want to go draft a guy like Wade Woodaz out of Clemson, shout out Kane, bringing this to my attention over on Twitter. If you guys aren't following me over on Twitter, twitter.com, hat_beard. Come check me out, dude. We're doing some fun stuff over there. I'm trying to figure out how to tweet and do that stuff there. Hooray, hooray for me. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're new here. It's the only way you can engage in the chat. Ring that notification bell so you can be notified every single time we go live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here at youtube.com, as well as daily uploads coming today. We should be getting an upload. I'm thinking about the 4 o'clock time slot. I'm thinking that might be a good idea, a good time to upload a little VOD. You're going to be talking, probably looking at, it's Black Monday. We're going to be talking head coaches who've been let go. I don't agree with some of them. I do agree with some of them. Personally, I think Raheem Morris is they're setting the Falcons up to failure. I hate it when you draft a first-round quarterback and then fire the head coach a year later. That's setting both the quarterback and the future head coach up for possible failure, a more inclined to be failure for one of the 2 points there. But we will discuss that probably in the video demand, so keep your eyes out for that one. Like this video, share it around with all of your friends. Now that we've spent 23 minutes on the intro of the video, let's get into the show.
If you can say the word good, guess what? It means you're still alive. It means you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, well, then hell, you still got some fight left in you. So get up, dust off, reload, recalibrate, re-engage, and go out on the attack.
Man, oh man, if my intro doesn't actually start to get you kind of hype about the future of the Detroit Lions moving forward, I think that is about perfect. I mean, sometimes things just work out, and even a blind squirrel finds a nut twice a day. Broken clock is right, and blah, blah, blah. Every dog has a day. The Jets make NFL history with a season of unprecedented futility and record-breaking failures. That just is terrible to say. The Jets did not record an interception all season long. Well, there's a first time for everything. It's just unfortunate the complete contrast of small PP Benedict Arnold, Osama Ben Johnson, the traitor in the Windy City, and poor Aaron Glenn. You know what I'm saying? Poor Aaron Glenn. Oh, somebody get that man a sandwich. He needs a sandwich. The New York Jets have been a laughingstock, but perhaps it has never been more deserved than right now. Gang Green ended their season with yet another loss, but this one, a 35-8 defeat at the hands of the Buffalo Bills, was a different kind of embarrassing. The loss marked the first time an NFL team has ever lost 5 consecutive games by at least 23 points. Has not been done in 4 games since 1972. Their point differential in that span was minus 134. Losing by an average of 26.8 points. The loss was also the 14th of the season for the Jets, a number they had only posted under Rich Cotti in 1995, and Adam Gase. You guys remember Adam Gase? Adam Gase. Adam Gase, who was able to have a overinflated career simply because he happened to be the offensive coordinator for Peyton Manning winning a Super Bowl in Denver. That's about the only real reason that guy even existed in the NFL, is because he got very lucky that he could attach his name to Peyton Manning. Yeah. We all know that most offensive coordinators, Peyton Manning is doing 90% of the heavy lifting. It used to be annoying to watch, but now when you look at how absolutely retarded the development is of collegiate quarterbacks to the NFL, you miss the days of guys like Peyton and Tom out there lining guys up. Goff does it a little bit. I like it. It's the manipulation of the defense. It's a thorough understanding of the task at hand. The exclamation point, though, was that the Jets finished the season without an interception. Another brutal NFL first. The Niners actually set an NFL record earlier this season, dating back to 2024, by not picking off a quarterback in 15 consecutive games. But that streak eventually snapped, and the Jets took it to a whole new level. The nightmare is over for the Jets, who were abysmal under first-year head coach Aaron Glenn. 3 different quarterbacks started for the Jets as Justin Fields was benched, Tyrod Taylor was hurt, and in his absence, prompting Brady Cook to start at the end of the season. Wow, that's some rough sledding, boys. At the trade deadline, the Jets sent away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams for draft capital. Thankfully, those trades were with the Indianapolis Colts and Dallas Cowgirls, both of whom missed the playoffs. Now, at the time, both of those trades were, these two teams are making the moves. Now, this is the trap that we don't want Brad Holmes to fall into. Look at the capital that they gave up for a Sauce Gardner. Look at the capital that the Cowboys gave up for a Quinnen Williams, right? Now, I know, sometimes I put too much weight behind the draft, the NFL draft, but Brad Holmes is a draft, build through the draft guy. So the thought of frivolously giving away high-end draft capital for players to make the push for the postseason doesn't always work. Right now, the Cowboys are lucky that they, through the Micah Parsons trade, they had a little bit more draft capital to move around with. I think the Colts have a little bit more draft capital to move around with, but big and hairy with a crack in the back, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't always work out. So there is always the flip side to, we pound our fists and say Jalen Phillips, we pound our fists and say Boye Mafe or Max Crosby, you know what I'm saying? We pound our fists and say these midseason trades that could ultimately blow up in our face, and then you're just plumb out of luck without a first-round pick, dude. And statistically, I think Brad Holmes has hit on every single first-round pick to some extent. Shout out Tyleek Williams having a really good game yesterday against the Chicago Bears. They get the picks from the Colts, 26 first, and Dallas's 26 second are not half bad. Plus, the Jets now own the second pick of the draft, so they have a lot of capital. However, it's up to general manager Doug Moogie to make the most of them and to decide if Glenn is the right guy to lead the Jets moving forward. Now, this article was written yesterday at 8:30. Shout out heavy.com over here. Despite the failures, despite the struggles, they're committed to Aaron Glenn. He is going to be back in 2026. Amazing. We're talking about Mike McDaniel and Sean McDermott, and Aaron Glenn may be the most safe of all of them inside the AFC East on the worst team in the division, according to Adam Schefter. This was at 4 o'clock on NFL Countdown. So I don't know if it's official, so I'm just going to say unofficially official. Aaron Glenn is safe. I will be very honest with you guys. I do think it's time for the fish to move on from Mike McDaniel. I think Miami just needs a full reset. That's not saying that Mike McDaniel isn't qualified to be a high-end offensive coordinator, mid-tier assistant head coach. I don't know if... I don't think there's enough Gen Zers playing in the NFL yet for Mike McDaniel to be a very successful head coach at the NFL level. However, his mentality probably would translate fairly well to certain college programs depending on how strict their rules are. Mike McDaniel does need, because he's not very much of an authoritarian, or authoritarian, that's the word I'm looking for. He does need a few hard guide rails put in by the institution or the team. You see how he lost the locker room in Miami. I do like Mike McDaniel, though. Miami, I think it's time to blow the whole thing up. Trade away as much value as you can. Bring in a new head coach, new GM, obviously. Also, Miami, maybe a new look, too. Maybe it's time to get away from those really gay, soft-looking Miami uniforms. Go back to the teal face mask with the hard orange stripe down the middle. You know, with the dolphin with the helmet jumping through the hoop. You know what I'm saying? That old school Dolphins. Really kind of get back to your roots, blow the whole thing up, and let Mike McDaniel come over to Detroit and be our offensive coordinator. I also don't think that Sean McDermott should be fired. That's fucking nuts. That's absolutely insane. They just didn't have... Look, they missed on Keon Coleman, right? They don't have the offensive weapons that Josh Allen necessarily needs in the receiving department. So you're asking a lot of Josh Allen. Yeah, James Cook is a very talented running back. Yeah, they have an up and down defense at times. But Buffalo's kind of been a little bit of a cap hell situation as they tried to buy their way to a Super Bowl a couple years back, and it didn't really work out. Now you're having to deal with the ramifications of big contracts and the lack of ability to move around in free agency. Couple that with not necessarily the most glamorous drafts in years past. But Aaron Glenn, the Jets have been a disaster down the stretch. They've lost their 4 games in the month of December by a total of 107 points. No team has ever lost by that many points in the month of December. The Jets have a chance today to not intercept a pass, which they obviously got. But all that to say, Aaron Glenn is sticking around as he'll at least be there for one more year, right? He'll at least be with the Jets for one more year. So, good on him, dude. It was a bad situation that he was walking into, right? And you know what? Maybe the Jets also need to kind of stare down the barrel of a image overhaul. I'm not trying to get hung up on the aesthetics of the game, but those metallic green helmets are lame. Dude, go back to the white helmets, bro. Go back. Let's stop trying to be flashy and let's get back to stability. Let's reframe our state of mind in the Big Apple, right? Maybe get back to our roots, get back to fundamental football, and by doing so, we can be a successful organization. Make sure that Aaron Glenn and the GM are on the same page with the moves that need to be made. I think that they need to kind of maybe adjust some of their coordinator positions a little bit. I don't know, man. I do like that Aaron Glenn's getting one more year, though. I don't think 1 year was enough. It was a bad year. It was a really bad year. But give him one more crack at her, bud. Give her one more crack at it. Talking about former Lions coaches, though, we got this fucking guy. This Benedict Arnold, this turncoat. How we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? Oh, American Boxer. Oh, brother, I was thinking about you yesterday. Oh, what's up, Jody? I was just talking about you yesterday, too. I said to Hat and Boobs, I was like, I haven't seen Jody in a couple days. What's up, girl? American Boxer, dude, I was thinking about you when Monty was just having classic, just God damn it, why couldn't we let Monty do that all year long? Monty out there being Monty doing Monty things. I was just like, I was pretty sure I could hear you all the way down in Houston fucking just like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, bro? I'm pretty sure I could hear you all the way up here, dude. I was like, American Boxer's going nuts right now. And I was too, bro. You guys know me. I fucking love David Montgomery. I really, really do, man. I think he is just one of the best backs, all around polished backs, a well-polished skill set, not flashy, underrated. Nobody likes pounder backs, ground and pound, unless your name's Derrick Henry, dude. I like David Montgomery, dude. I like his personality. I like the way he goes about business. I like the way he handles himself on the field, man. And I really don't want to see him go because I love what he does for the team. But if you're not going to use the guy, he's a 1,000-yard rusher easy on any team in the NFL. He's done it for us with Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Let him go play somewhere else, dude. Houston, Tennessee, one of them organizations that need a running back like him, a stable, a workhorse, Arizona. One of them places, dude. But, I don't want to see him go because I'm selfish. But I want to see him go because I like David Montgomery that much. You know what I'm saying? Gibbs did show improvement pass blocking, bro. Me and Hat and Boobs were talking about that. You notice Gibbs is waiting for the defenders to come to him. He's not going out there and trying to get them. That's where he was missing, dude. Gibbs is going out and trying to hit them, trying to like pancake linebackers, dude, and they just moved around his ass. You know what I'm saying? He was just absorbing the contact, being a stopgap, not trying to be a road grader. You know what I'm saying? Found Kalshi yesterday being able to bet on things like Tom Brady saying, "Yo, dude, Trippy, you just got on Kalshi, huh?" Yeah, dude, I've seen that Kalshi sit. Tim Pool shows that shit a lot, dude. He's talked about it a lot. That Kalshi shit is wild, bro. That is for real wild, like wild. You can bet on anything, dude, anything. What's up, Cody? How you doing? Glad we won. I don't care if we drop a couple draft spots. Me either, dude. Me either. And there was a I can't. I don't know his name, but there was a tweet that I retweeted where the guy was just like, "Hey, you know what? I think the hate basically on the bad draft spot is stupid. We finished above 500. We beat our division rival that stole a bunch of our coaches last season, including our offensive coordinator to be their head coach, right? We served up a big slab of humble pie. I don't care if we went from 11 to 17. I don't care. Brad Holmes knows what he's doing in the draft. And for all we know, he's already working on deals. He's going to be trading out of 17. For all we know. You know what I'm saying? That is a huge possibility. So, no, I don't like the whole, well, we lost our draft stock and we, so many spots slid back. Fuck that. Fuck all that noise. Finish above 500. Another win. When was the last time the Detroit Lions had 3 consecutive winning seasons in your lifetime? Some of you, yes, some of you. In my lifetime, never. This is I'm 37 years old. I was born in April 1988, okay? This is the golden age of Detroit Lions football for me. For me, this is the best product I have ever seen year in and year out. And I'm here for it. I like not tanking. I like winning. I like beating the Bears. I like it. It feels good. Yes, we missed the playoffs. That doesn't feel good. But it does feel good to not end on a huge losing streak. And it feels even better to stick it in Ben Johnson's eye. You know what I'm saying, dude? I like it. This is the golden age of Detroit Lions football. That's why I tell you guys, look, we're not always going to be 15 wins in the 1 seed. This is something that good teams have to learn to deal with. You will have ups and you will have downs. If our floor is above 500 in a competitive NFC North division, right, after we had all of our head coaches or our lead coordinators poached away, after we lost a Hall of Fame center, after we lost an All-Pro guard, right? If our floor is still above 500 and being kind of in playoff contention right now, look, if the NFC West, we can grandma wagon this conversation all we want. If the NFC West was bad, we'd be a lot farther ahead, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I'm saying? I'm here for it though. I'm not here for the tank, get the 11th pick. No, I'm not here for that. We're here to win. No, we don't condone that loser mentality here at Mad Hatter Nation, bro. We don't. That is not the mentality to have here. If that's your take, fine, leave. I don't care. We don't need you here. Mad Hatter Nation is an island of sanity in a sea of nonsense. Okay, so we're gonna keep it fucking real. No, you want to win. You always want to win. That's why you play. You play to win the game, and they are who we thought they were. Slap, and we let them off the hook. You know what I'm saying, guys? You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't know who Doug English is, my guy. That's an ADHD leg. Yeah, Trippy, it's the ADHD legs, and this desk is really cheap. This is a really cheap and wobbly desk. I'm also a big guy. I'm a big dude, so when I get to bouncing like a little child, I get to slip slap and flip flap. And you guys want to see my stickers there? Warning: keep your dick beaters off my truck. A classic Fight Like Hell, Patriot Country from Turning Point USA. Henry repeating rifles down here. Some weed stuff. Protect and Provide. This is from one of the Catholic websites. You know. Yeah, dude, look at our IR list, dude, and we still won nine games. What's up, Derek? How you doing? How you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. I meant to say good morning when I seen you, dude. I said I appreciate you tuning in, bro. You know how it is. So Ben Johnson rips the Bears offense after a loss to the Lions. Here we go. Despite a 19-16 loss to the Detroit Lions, the Bears locked up the 2 seed in the NFC playoff Sunday because the Washington Commies, well, they just had to go and beat Philadelphia, right? Come on now. This is why you don't put faith in commies, dude, because when you need them to do shit, they're just going to let you down time after time after time. Though the prospect of playing multiple home games in the postseason has long been a goal of the Bears coach, Ben Johnson. Really? Interesting. This would imply... shout out Courtney Cronin. The statement would imply that Ben Johnson has been coaching the Bears for a long time. The prospect of playing multiple home games in the postseason has long been a goal of the Bears head coach Ben Johnson. He was in no mood to celebrate, given how his team performed in the season finale. It's been a for all of the years he's been coaching the Bears, he's just wanted to have multiple home games in the postseason. I was not pleased with the offense today, Johnson said. We can't dig ourselves in a hole like that. I was disappointed with the offense as a whole. A lot of those guys know that, and we'll be better for it. Now, contrast that to what Dan Campbell would say. Ben Johnson, quote, "We can't dig ourselves in a hole like that." That's very something Dan Campbell would say. I was disappointed with the offense as a whole. I let those guys know that. Who's calling the plays? Who's the big-brained offensive genius? The guy. Because what I'm reading right here is somebody who is not willing to be a leader of men and take the blame for it. He's shifting the blame. Dude, you call the plays. It's your offense. You're the genius, right? You're Mr. Big Brain. You're Mr. High IQ. You're small PP Benedict Arnold Osama Ben Johnson, the traitor in the Windy City. And as most cowards do, no accountability. It's their fault. It's the offense's fault. The offense let us down, and I let them know that. Don't worry, guys. I made sure that the offense knows that they did not play well. I told them, you did not play very well. You did not do a good job. Who's calling the plays, dumbass? 1 week after coming up short in a shootout against the Niners, Chicago suffered its second straight loss after being held scoreless for 3 quarters. Yes, they were. And, well, in reality, it wasn't. If it wasn't for the refs, I don't know if they'd have scored at all. That's one we'll have to take a look at on tape to figure out why that was, Johnson said. I didn't feel like it was one of our more elaborate plans. I felt like it was one of our simpler plans. We need to do a better job of executing it and coaching it up. Oh, so not only are you saying it's not my fault, but then you called your players retarded. Yo, Ben Johnson just called his players retarded. I didn't feel like it was one of our more elaborate plans. I felt like it was one of our simpler plans. He just called his players retarded, bro. And, yo, you couldn't adjust to a zone defense mid-game? Bro. Oh, that's funny, dude. The offense is code for Caleb's backside. Ben Johnson's going to have fun to play against. He gets so butthurt, he looks like he's going to cry after he gets beat. Doesn't he, though, dude? Oh, I don't think Ben's going to make it as a head coach. He's more of a coordinator, like you said, not a leader. If he loses the team, it's over. And this team is a bunch of divas, dude. It's a bunch of divas. Swift, diva. Caleb Williams. Giggle Williams is definitely a diva. DJ Moore, DJ Moore, dude, DJ Moore is one of the more outspoken diva wide receivers in the NFL. Let's be real, right? And I'm sorry, but Roma Dunze also looks like a diva wide receiver, dude. And once the contracts are up on your defense, dude, and you got to pay all them motherfuckers and Caleb Williams, good fucking luck, dude. That's why he has players like Caleb, so he doesn't have to be a leader of men. Yes. What's up, Kane? BJ disrespected JG so much that he decided to punt the ball in hopes of getting it back. Skinny Patricia. Yes, dude. Doesn't he? Yes. You know, we said that early on during training camp, and then we kind of stopped talking about it. But, dude, Ben Johnson gives just Matt Patricia vibes so hard. Oh, dude. Yes, dude. He doesn't fall on his sword. That's what I'm saying, bro. MCDC. Let's get back to this statement real quick. We can't dig ourselves in a hole like that. Totally something MCDC would say, right? I was disappointed in the offense as a whole. See, Dan Campbell would said, man, I really let the guys down. I didn't do enough. I didn't make the adjustments. They were doing everything they could. He would, the most blame Dan Campbell would shift would say, the coaches let them down. We let them down. Dan Campbell first to go, it was me. It was me. I let you down. I didn't do enough for you guys. Just like Jared Goff, dude. That's why they're a hand-in-glove marriage, brother. That's why it all works, dude. And Ben Johnson, no, dude. Ben Johnson's got a big old fucking ego. Ben came from the Patricia regime. You're right, dude. You are correct, Mr. Detroit City. Yes, I believe you are correct. Ben Johnson, Matt Patricia. Okay, Ben Johnson joined the Lions in 2019 under head coach Matt Patricia as offensive quality control, later becoming tight ends coach. He was retained by Dan Campbell, eventually becoming the successful offensive coordinator. The journey began under Patricia, but blossomed into key roles as Campbell built the Lions. The question then I have to ask, is Ben Johnson then part of the Dan Campbell coaching tree, or is he a Matt Patricia coaching tree, therefore a branch of the Bill Belichick coaching tree? Is that how that works out? Because technically, isn't Dan Campbell under the Bill Parcells coaching tree, if I'm correct? Bill Parcells coaching tree. Oh, guys, we are getting out in the weeds today. Here we go. Ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. Ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum. Ba-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Ba-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Hey, Arnold. So yeah, Bill Parcells got Todd Bowles. Oh fuck. What is that? Anthony Lynn. What's his name there? That was the coach of the Vikings, right? Mike Zimmer. Sean Payton, who then led to, I can't tell who that is. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Let's do this. What coaching tree does Dan Campbell come from? Bill Parcells' coaching tree, having played for him in Dallas and receiving his first coaching start from Parcells in Miami. He also extended branches from the Sean Payton tree, working under him in New Orleans, and is now building his own tree with coordinators like Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. So I guess technically Ben Johnson is a branch of a branch. So Ben Johnson would be a branch of Dan Campbell, who's a branch of both Sean Payton and Bill Parcells. Technically Bill Parcells, because Sean Payton is a branch of Bill Parcells, correct? Am I wrong? Am I wrong on this, guys? Ben Johnson is Matt Patricia. I hope he enjoys the Northern title this season. The locker room will turn on that turncoat. Yes, they will, Derek, because you are like you are who your leadership is. And the Bears act just like Ben Johnson. Whiny little baby back bitches. Ben is a dweeb engineer type. So the dweeb tree, not the Belichick tree. Yeah, Cody, you know what I'm saying. So it's like, I thought MC and Benjay were all in Miami also. Yeah, Brent, I thought Ben Johnson was in Miami too, dude. Ben Johnson, Miami. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in Miami. Yeah. Uh, I'm guessing he was probably like a assistant tight ends coach or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Ben Johnson, all this to say, he's a wiener and he can go fuck himself. Let's talk about the Lions, guys. Let's get on over to the Lions as we are nearing the end of the show. Ben is in Miami, yeah, but peon. Ben was a nobody, is a nobody, and will return to nowhere soon. Mr. Detroit City, tell me how you really feel, dude. Yeah, okay, so he was a quality control. Yeah, he's just a not a nobody. I would love to have that job. Dude, you know how awesome it would be if my job was quality control for an NFL team? Oh, bro. Dude, I'm not going to lie. All I really want to do is I just want to be a maintenance guy for the Detroit Lions, like at their practice facility. You know what I'm saying? That'd be so cool, dude. That'd be so cool to be like the team's like maintenance dude. All right, so the Lions GM Brad Holmes must address these major issues. What do we got? What are the major issues we got going on here, guys? Holmes' recent string of lackluster personnel decisions cost the Lions dearly this season. There's no doubt he should be held accountable and asked plenty of questions about it during his season-ending media session this week. Furthermore, Holmes needs to address the regression and how he plans on building the Lions back into a legitimate playoff contender this coming offseason. He should start by rebuilding the offensive line. Yes, very important. This I think, is something that Brad Holmes will aggressively address. The line never recovered from losing its anchor, Pro Bowl center Frank Ragnow, and the run game, although it's still productive, was not nearly as efficient as it was a year ago. We also didn't have 5,000 takeaways by Kirby Joseph. Detroit, for example, failed to produce 100 total rushing yards on 7 separate occasions in 2025, 6 or more times than the season prior. The Lions also endured inconsistent play from their guards, primarily Mahogany and Ratledge at the right guard, and the weekly presence of left tackle Taylor Decker on the injury report. And there's a decent chance that Decker, a staple of the Lions' offensive line since 2016, decides to retire this offseason. And nobody will fault you if you do, brother. If anything, I think we're all quietly rooting for you. I am loudly rooting for you, and I'm here to tell you guys, it's okay to say that. It is okay to go, Deck, you've given it everything you've had and then some. Brother, walk away from the game while you can still walk away from the game, okay? I talk about it all the time, the year that the Steelers won the Super Bowl with the bus, right? I think it was Roethlisberger's like first or second year, right? When they won it here in Detroit against Seattle. And they showed this video of Jerome Bettis getting up out of bed and trying to walk downstairs, and his knees were just so crippled, right? You hear this horror stories. Like, imagine you are one of the greatest success stories in the history of the NFL. You came back from, at the time, what was a career-ending injury, projected to be a career-ending injury. You had MVP years, you won a Super Bowl, and you will be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, one of the most prolific passers the NFL has ever seen. Undersized, underappreciated. If you guys can't tell, I'm talking about Drew Brees. Drew Brees cannot play catch with his children. He cannot throw a ball with his right arm. His shoulder is so destroyed over a career in the NFL that if he wants to throw a pass, he has to use his left hand. He cannot throw a ball. A Hall of Fame, MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback cannot play catch with his children. That's fucked. That's so fucked, right? Now, do I think Drew Brees should have walked away 2-3 years prior? Yeah, I think he should have. Was he still able to execute at a high level? Yeah, he's more of a check down merchant in the back end of his career, but that's because the shoulder was gone, right? Not everybody can be Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? So, Deck, brother, there is no shame in hanging it up now, right? Walk away from the game while you can still walk away from the game, my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm here for. It also clear a lot of money off the salary cap. You can't play football forever, and it will be challenging. I'm going to need to find, if that is the decision that I make, what the opportunity could be in front for me. And I think it would make a lot of that easier. And emotional Decker told reporters after Detroit's Week 18 win over the Bears. But as of now, all I've done is I've played football forever. Like I said, it's always what I've done. I've played offensive line since 2002. That's all I've played. And then I'm a fortunate player who got to be on one team. I've got to be there. I've got to be here for 10 years. I take a lot of pride in that. I think that makes it weigh heavy on my heart even more. Subsequently, Holmes and co. should prepare for life after Decker and make a concerted effort to revamp the offensive line in the coming months. Now the question is, how will the fifth-year GM go about doing so? One option certainly will be through the 2026 NFL Draft. With their season-ending victory against Ben Johnson in Chicago, the Lions are now slated to pick at the number 17th overall in the first round of this April's draft, per Tankathon. If Holmes sticks with the pick, he could feasibly select either Miami, Florida's Francis Muigoa, or Alabama's Caden Proctor, both of whom are viable replacements for Decker. I will be very honest, guys. You're going to hear a lot about Caden Proctor, okay? And I will talk about Caden Proctor. He is for lack of a better term, he's a living mountain on the field. He is a massive wall of a human being, and he's very athletic. However, and I do mean how and ever, I have seen a little scuttlebutt on the Reddits. He's a little bit of a slappy, I'm too good for this, a little bit of a, I'm not going to do that, a little bit of a, do you know who I am? You know, not quite the mentality that we necessarily are about here in Detroit. Now, I don't know if this is factual or not, but rumor has it he's been known to take a couple plays off here or there. I don't know. Do you guys know something I don't know? Decker retiring would be the best for him and the team. Exactly. I can't throw from sports and manual labor, but I'm also not a multimillionaire. Yeah, Cody, brother, I sit here and I talk about Drew Brees' shoulder. This thing, it looks like a shoulder. I know it looks like a shoulder. It's a piece of shit is what it is. It's a piece of shit attached to my collarbone that my arm is then stuck into. Yeah, it's a piece of shit. I think he said he didn't want to, but I don't want a rookie there. Yeah, Cody, I agree. Now, if Penny doesn't want to, you let Penny do whatever Penny wants to do, man. But yeah, I think the natural progression is to put Penny back at his natural spot, at the left tackle spot. The veteran front office executive also be pressed on his plan to find suitable running mate for Pro Bowl edge Aiden Hutchinson. Since the day Hutch was drafted number 2, the Holmes has repeatedly failed to provide Campbell with a legitimate pass rushing threat opposite the University of Michigan product. Yes. However, I will raise you an Al-Qadim Muhammad, double-digit sacks. It has hindered the Lions' ability to sustain any kind of effectiveness as a pass rushing unit. Plus, it has led to the team's defense having issues getting off the field time and time again. I do agree, though, and I will give you this, that Muhammad is not the answer. However, the numbers actually support the statement that he is a suitable running mate this year, right? Now, this is not the year that you overpay for a guy like Al-Qadim Muhammad. He's on the back end of his career. Yes, you keep him in-house as a legitimate depth piece, right? An actual weapon in the back, down the roster, but he's not your running mate long-term opposite Aiden Hutchinson. Holmes, more often than not, has tried to address the need by shopping at the thrift store for edge defenders, most notably signing Marcus Davenport in back-to-back off seasons. Davenport was hardly the answer for Detroit the past 2 seasons. However, he struggled to stay on the field, suiting up for just 10 total games, and was largely ineffective, recording 1.5 sacks. Very good, very good. All in all, Holmes, with Campbell's help, has done a solid job establishing a winning culture in the Motor City. He has his fingerprints all over this current iteration of the Lions, which has recorded 4 straight winning seasons for the first time since 1969 through 1972. So, as I stated earlier, it's not just my life. It's, well, by the metrics, the majority of your guys' lives, too. This is the golden age of Detroit Lions football. While Holmes should be commended for such, it is no longer good enough in Detroit to simply post a winning record. Because of the organization's recent success, 27 total wins and 2 straight division crowns from 23 to 24, expectations have skyrocketed among Lions fans. The rabid fan base now expects Detroit to compete for a Super Bowl and will accept nothing less from its football team. Detroit fans which have experienced plenty of lowlights over the years, including an 0-16 2008 campaign, have every right to feel that way. Consequently, the onus is now on Holmes and the front office to put the Lions in position to hoist the Lombardi Trophy in 2026. And the stage has been set for the biggest season-ending press conference on the most important offseason of Brad Holmes' tenure as Detroit's GM. That's right, you guys. If you know, you know. I believe I put it in, maybe it was a tweet that I let out about the show this morning. If you know, you know. It all starts today, baby. The regular season got done, but the business, the moving forward, it all starts today. Black Monday, dude. Let's go, y'all. We're going to be running a little late. Here's a list of Lions, 34 free agents, and 10 guys they think would be back. What do you guys think about this? Let me know down in the chat. Mad Hatter Nation, I was thinking about this. I actually think our DTs were to blame this year. I don't really remember any pressure coming up the middle. McNeil needs to do better. Yes, Cody, I'll give you that. Our defensive tackles are not so great. You're my spirit animal. I know what you are going to say before you say it. Well, thanks, James Ref. I appreciate that, brother. Not all in on Proctor. Scuttlebutt around. Is his work ethic not good? Yeah, dude. See, Brent, that's what I'm hearing too, dude. I'm hearing Proctor's kind of a slappy, dude. He's kind of a slappy, dude. And we don't have room for no slappies on this team, dude. This is a no slappy team, dude. This is a team where you got to be a hard running Jesse with your hair on fire 900% of the time, dude. There is no room for slappies on this team, dude. Free agents who are likely to be back in Detroit in 2026. I do like this. I like Roy Lopez. I think he played relatively well, above expectations, kind of like Tyleek Williams. I feel that both of these guys outperformed what we were expecting them to do. However, that doesn't translate to an effective defensive tackle play throughout the season, though I do think Tyleek deserves more credit for where he was drafted and how well he played in the limited roles and exposure that he had this season. I felt that there was more good than bad, and he has a knack for swatting passes down. He has a pretty good knack for swatting passes down. Just look, Lopez was our highest DT with 2 sacks. Yeah, Cody, that's the thing, dude, is no one got good pressure. Leak was getting there. Leak was starting to get a little, he was starting to kind of get a little bit of pressure, but never really was able to polish that down. This offseason will be big for him. It sounds like Reeder's probably going to go, so, a Lopez there is just kind of a stability point, and there is a little bit of scuttlebutt, a little discussion around possibly trading Aleem McNeil, which I'm not necessarily high on. Lopez had a great season for the Lions. He was one of only 4 guys who made you wonder why he didn't play more. About halfway through the year, the Lions kind of realized what they had in him, and he became a tremendous run stopper for them, and even showed that he can get after the quarterback. Look for Detroit to sign him to a new deal ahead of free agency. Al-Qadim Muhammad, a career season for Muhammad in 25. He put up 11 sacks this season after never having more than 6. The Lions could be looking to find their next big thing opposite Aiden Hutchinson, but they should also be looking to keep Muhammad as a premium depth piece moving forward. That's exactly where I'm at. Grant Stewart, they think we should re-sign Grant Stewart. I could take or leave Grant Stewart. We've seen a definite downtick in his usage after Malcolm Rodriguez was healthy again. Daniel Thomas, a solid veteran for the Lions, and the fact that he tried to play with a broken arm really shows you he's the type of guy the Lions love. Yes, but did he play well? He did break up that touchdown pass to Colby Parkinson that somehow was a touchdown catch. Rock Yassin for the season. What a season for Yassin. I don't know if anyone expected him to play as much as he actually did, but when he came in for relief after injuries, he held some of the best receivers in the league back for the most part. That's a guy you have to have back at least for one more year. I like the idea of bringing back Rock Yassin and our guy Malcolm Rodriguez. Rodriguez is likely a major part of the Lions' future at linebacker. Not to a starter level, but a key backup. On top of that, he's a great special teamer, and the Lions value that unit a lot. Speaking of special teams, plug your ears, Mr. Detroit City, Jake Bates. Bates is on an exclusive rights free agent, so this is super easy for the Lions. They don't even have to let him hit free agency. They can very easily get a deal done. For as hard as it is to find a kicker, the Lions shouldn't even try their luck out there Bates is the guy. Yes, he is. Jake Bates, I'm tired of this kicking carousel. Stick with Jake Bates. Kyle Allen, well, yeah, whatever. I'd like to see us also, what does it say here? I still think the Lions should be looking for a rookie quarterback this offseason. Yes, somebody not like Hendon Hooker. Jacob Sailors did a good enough job as a kick returner, and I actually think he's a relatively interesting idea to keep at the depth piece for running back. I think he has the ability to be moderately productive, not a Knuckles 2.0, but a moderately productive running back in a rotationary piece with maybe a Sione Vaki or another player to spell Jahmyr Gibbs. Tom Kennedy, in case you guys didn't know, Kennedy is legally required to be on this team. And then here's a list of guys we want gone. Marcus Davenport, bye-bye. See you later. Alex Anzalone, yeah, I know a lot of fans don't want this to happen, but at the end of the day, the Lions have a lot to feel good about at linebacker, and letting Anal Zone walk in as an effort to get younger just makes a lot of sense. Khalif Raymond, unfortunately, the franchise leader in punt return yards, unless he wants to come back on a super duper duper cheap deal. Yeah, Raymond's got to go. Although yesterday, it was nice to have Leaf. It was nice to have Leaf on a couple of big plays. DJ Reader's comments to Lions fans recently kind of makes you feel like maybe he doesn't want to be here anymore. He played well, but like Raymond, he'll be 32 at the start of the next season, and Lions have the replacement in him in Tyleek Williams. Amik Robertson, I wouldn't be totally shocked if the Lions gave Robertson one more year. But man, 2025 was a tough one for him. He allowed a passer rating of 110.4. That's 66 catches for 821 yards and 6 touchdowns. The Lions may look to go completely new direction with their slot corner. Yes, I agree. Levi Onwuzurike, Josh Paschal, just never could stay or get to that healthy enough point to be a productive player. Availability is the best ability. Dan Skipper, fan favorite, and I, as well as the writer, love Skip. He's my favorite, friendly neighborhood Dan Skipper. But we have to be honest at this point, the Lions need to find a better swing tackle, and preferably one who can start if need be, and not allow Jared Goff to get sacked multiple times. Avonte Maddox is going to be a victim of age. Kyoto Awashika is going to be a victim of talent. Zach Cunningham, age. Ezekiel Turner never made the field. Shane Zylstra sucks. Arthur Mollett sucks. Tyrus Wheat sucks. Trevor Nowitzki sucks. Boodle sucks. Fersker sucks. Mills, I don't mind Mills. Kaze, I don't know if you ever seen the field. Cologne sucks. Jamarco Jones, injured, sucks. Michael Neese sucks. Nick Whiteside, I like Nick Whiteside. I like Nick Whiteside. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today. How we doing, Mad Hatter Nation? One walkthrough here. Tyleek Williams improved as the season went on. He'll be a major factor next year. Yes, he will, Rick. That's what I'm saying. I think we hit on Tyleek Williams, dude. I like Anzo, but didn't miss him too much yesterday. Yeah, Cody, I agree with you, dude. I liked what he represented and what he did for us. Unfortunately, Anal Zone, brother, it's a business. And, unless he wants to be a real team-friendly guy, and understand that with a diminished pay comes diminished role. It's just not going to be. You can't outwork Father Time, Alex Anzalone. Alex doesn't want to come back to Detroit. He's following AG to New York. Yeah, probably, Rick. Probably. I'm worried we'll bring back Levi. Nah, dude, Brent, he won't bring back Levi. I don't think. I would imagine that Levi is going to be like, dude, I can't play ball. My back is fucked. I can't play. I cannot play. Alex kind of pissed me off this offseason antics too. Yeah, Cody, he was being a little diva-y. In my opinion. So, guys, we covered Aaron Glenn and the Jets' historically bad season, and then we talked about Aaron Glenn being confirmed that he will be back even after a historically bad season. We talked about Ben Johnson and how he is a coward who will not take blame and is happy to shuck responsibility off onto other people. And that's what happens when you are built in the image of Matt Patricia and you are a turncoat coward. Cowardice breeds cowardice. So I'd expect Chicago, the wheels to just continue to fall off. First round exit. I hate to say it. Go Pack go. You know what I'm saying? Beat the shit out of the Bears. I can't stand the Bears. I hate the Bears more than I hate the Packers now because I fucking hate Ben Johnson. I can't stand Giggle Williams, dude. They're a bunch of dildos, dude. They're a bunch of dildos. We talked about Brad Holmes and some major issues that we will be basically just continuously talking about all offseason. This is going to be the major talking points. Address the offensive line. Get a running mate for Hutch. Retool your secondary. Fix the offensive coordinator problem. John Gruden. Mike McDaniel. Mike Kafka. And then we went through a brief list of the Lions free agents, who could be back and who could or should possibly walk. Good show today, right, guys? How we feeling? Caleb Williams. Why did I think of that? Oh, damn it, dude. Why didn't I think of that? Caleb Williams. It was right there. Fuck. It was right there the whole time. If it had been a snake, it'd have bit me, dude. Damn, bro. You got me on that one. Nicely done, James. Nicely done. A round of applause for you. All right, guys. So that's going to be it for today. Keep your eyes peeled as we are going to have another video come out at some point this afternoon. I'm not exactly what time or sure. But since that's going to be a standalone video on demand, I'm pretty sure you can hype that video relatively soon after it goes up. So hype up those videos when they come out. Make sure that you subscribe. Turn the notification bell so you can be notified when it comes out. Let me know. Give me some feedback. How you feel about the VODs moving forward. We're going to try and do it about one a day on top of the live show. So, yeah. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Stay out of trouble. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. We'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Like always, I've been Hat and Beard. You've been an attentive audience. Until then, bonga bonga. Frig off.